reason we feel like we are, and I want to thank the News Sentinel because they've gone a long way in helping our citizens understand the BEP. To put it in perspective, here's how it lays out. Knox County children receive $800 per child less than the state average. That's $40 million plus per year that we're being shortchanged. What we're saying is give us more of our own money back. Putting it in an even better perspective, Williamson County, one of the richest counties in this country, receives more money per child than inner city school children in Knoxville. That's a formula that any way you cut it is broken. We've had lots of conversations with the governor. Early this week I'll be meeting with the governor and some of his key staff people along with several legislators, along with Mayor Wharton from Shelby County and Mayor Ramsey from Hamilton County, and we think we're going to have some success. It may be that our success comes with funding outside the BEP. In other words, the governor realizing that some of our urban areas are being shortchanged. If that happens, that's good. If he takes another approach, that's fine too, but we need to have a significant improvement. We're not asking anyone to be cut. We're asking for the growth dollars to go to the urban counties, which are currently being shortchanged, and we don't really care how the governor does it, but we need that to happen because that's critically important. Our schools are doing good, and if we don't continue to go forward and fund them very appropriately, then we're not going to see the success we've had over the last couple of years.
Why does the governor think it's complicated? I mean, I saw his comments, and I really didn't understand them, to be honest, as it applied to Knox County. He just said, oh, that's complicated, and it has to do with the formula. What does that mean?
Well, that's a great question. I'm not sure what it means either, and I'm not going to try and read the governor's mind. He's been cooperative. I've enjoyed dealing with him, and he tells us that he's going to do something that's very fair. But the only statistic in my mind that matters is $800 per child less than the state average. That should send a shockwave through every Knox County and who cares about public education, because with that money, we could really move our system from good to great very quickly.
Now, the Knox County budget is facing a big new burden with this next budget year with the sheriff's pension. I think you had concerns about this pension, which was approved by voters. What has to be done now to absorb that cost? Is there a likelihood of a tax increase or cuts in other areas, and what effect would that have on funding schools?
Well, we hope it has no impact on funding schools, and that's why the BEP reform and more funding for Knox County from our sales tax dollars is so critically important. I am concerned about this plan because most corporations and most government entities across this country are leaving defined benefits plan and moving toward defined contribution plans if they're not already there. However, our citizens approved it. Our deputies are deserving. We've increased their salary by 21% during my first term in office, and I'm very proud of that. But we're going to do it the very best we can to make it work. In terms of a tax increase, that is our absolute last resort. What we're trying to do is look at how we fund the $57 million up front, which we need to, and then we also have to deal with the increases that are coming forward with it every year. So it's one of the biggest challenges that we've had. John Werner, John Troyer, our entire finance department is focused on it, and we're looking to have an announcement sometime in May with our State of the Community address when we present our budget. But it is a big challenge.
Now that we're talking about schools, what are your thoughts on the school board buying out the contract of Dr. Charles Lindsay?
Well, I think it's an appropriate step. Dr. Lindsay's done some nice things with our schools. When you look at it, scores across Knox County are higher than any time since the No Child Left Behind benchmarks were established. That's positive. Something else that's very positive that many of our citizens may not know, our children's scores on the American College Test, or ACT, are higher not only than the state average, but higher than the national average in all four parts of the test. So we're doing some good things in schools. I do think it was probably time for a change in leadership. Dr. Lindsay recognized that. The board recognized that. I wish that we could have not extended his contract so far that we wouldn't be in this situation, but we're dealing with it, and I think they're dealing with it appropriately.
All right. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Have a few final minutes with Knox County Mayor Mike Ragsdale. Let's get to Jack's question.
Mayor, one issue that emerged during the recent debate is the fee offices and the staffing of the fee offices. I think some comparisons would indicate that we're very comfortably staffed in some of those areas. And do you think there are ways that we can increase efficiency and maybe get some money out of the fee offices to help with the budget crunch we're facing elsewhere?
Absolutely, I do. And I know that Billy Tyndall, who's taken over the court clerk office, has already made some reductions in staff, and I think those are very positive moves. You hate to see anyone lose their job, but in areas where you may be overstaffed or, as you say, very comfortable, we need to make cutbacks. Government's not an employment agency. This year at budget time, I will be challenging each individual office holder to see how much more they can do to assist Knox County government in general so that we can help tackle the challenge that we have with the Sheriff's Pension Plan and also put more money in our school system, which I think is very important. The reception that I've received so far from them has been outstanding, and I'm very grateful for their willingness to work with us.
I have a question about, we have a bit of a nepotism issue in some of our county commissioners and their relatives, and some of them, I guess, working in city and county governments. There is a move, somewhat of a move.
Did you just come up with that on your own, or have you read about it?
No, I saw a large chart in the News Sentinel that had photos. There is a move in the legislature, at least a bill, I think, that's been introduced to ban nepotism. In county, you couldn't serve on the county commission and then have relatives serve in the county government. Is that something you could support or will support?
I would support it going forward. I don't think that you should go back and penalize those who have already been elected to certain jobs or who are already working at certain jobs. But going forward, absolutely, I could support it. I'm particularly concerned about situations where those get elected to then take jobs with county government. That bothers me tremendously, and we need to do something there. I think that's a violation of the public trust, so that needs to be addressed. And whether it's through state legislation or through a charter change, I think you'll see steps going forward very shortly to try and make that happen in Knox County.
Does county have a conflict of interest? Is that coming? Will that be developed with this new ethics commission, or do you currently have a conflict of interest policy?
We do have a conflict of interest policy, and people are supposed to acknowledge that there is a conflict publicly, and I think our commission's done a much better job of that in the last couple of meetings. But even beyond that, those who are elected to office then take a county job, I think that puts them in a precarious situation, which shouldn't really allow them to vote on any budgetary issue. But I hope we could go a step further and just say, we're not doing this anymore.
The rumble in the courthouse is that you and Randy Nichols have a project coming up, a joint venture on senior fraud.
That's right, and something I'm very excited about. General Nichols, along with regional district attorney generals and also regional county mayors from 17 different counties, will be sponsoring in May a senior summit. I think the date is May 17th, but we'll certainly be getting that out, on fraud, and particularly, Dennis, as it impacts seniors. And what we're seeing far too much of, seniors being taken advantage of, ripped off, losing their financial resources. And while we do a good job of catching those individuals after they've committed the crime, it doesn't return the cash to the seniors. And that's something that concerns me greatly. General Nichols has a huge interest in it. He's been a leader in making it happen. Sheriff Jones is going to be working with us. But the nice thing is, it's a regional perspective, and we're dealing with it with regional people, so it'll be across East Tennessee. I'm excited about the way we're working together.
This is a good thing, and we've had to dwell on some negative things in this 30 minutes of time with you.
We've had some negative.
Yes, there have been some, but let's talk about some of the positives. What are some of the things some good things coming to Knox County?
I think the other day, we had a business prospect in town and said, tell me how you think the outside world views your community. And I said, here's how they viewed us in 2006. CNN, Forbes, Expansion Magazine, Salary.com, Economic Research Institute, all national organizations ranked us as one of the 10 best places in America to live, to retire, to begin a career, to build personal wealth, to raise your family. Those are positive things. And while we've got some challenges right now, I hope we don't lose sight of the fact that East Tennesseans have known for a long time, and that is, this is a great place to live. We just need to work to continue to make it better.
All right. Mayor Ragsdale, it's always a pleasure.
Thanks
for being
having
here.
It's great visiting with you.
All right. We'll be right back. Stay with us. We are back. That time of the show where we can chat about all things going on.
Yeah. We can rip everybody.
As you smile.
Hey, Bosch isn't here. We can rip him. What do you think?
Just like every other
Would he do
Sunday,
that to
right?
us?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes. Well, he's here, so it's not a big deal. But let's talk about Mayor Ragsdale. Just your thoughts. Just with what he had to say about the different conflicts. We talked about a lot of conflicts.
Well, I think that part of what Mayor Ragsdale is all about